welcome to all, and I hope you're all still fine. My name is Birgit Blumberg, and I'm a design thinking coach and expert here at CGI in Düsseldorf. I'm part of the CGI worldwide design community, and we are working together worldwide, but also locally, on how to help people find human needs and how to solve problems people have maybe not solved before or haven't even thought about before. And of course, the current situation is a perfect situation because nobody could really imagine such a situation to happen. When you ask me what's inspiring me, then it's nature, to see how nature is reacting and so on, how it's adapting. I'm inspired by human needs and the different human needs which are happening. And on the fun side of it, I'm inspired by children questions. If you have ever listened to children carefully and their questions, you think the curiosity can lead in new directions. So that is something I like to see for my mental eye when I talk to people and about it. So for those of you who are not really familiar with design thinking, or as it is called, human-centered design, what is it? Let me just quickly introduce you to this concept. It's, I would say, people think it's a process. That's right. It's a mindset. That's right. So when we talk about design thinking or human-centered design, it's a combination of creative and analytical thinking in order to apply and solve a problem. And it consists of several phases, and that is what you see on the screen here. It starts first with the understanding and the observation and the combination of what we have understood and what we have observed into a definition of a problem or a challenge. And then we start ideating about a solution. So I think most of us are trained to hear something and jump directly to a solution. In design thinking, we take this single step back and have a deeper look first before we ideate, and then we do prototyping, which is in most cases a very cheap, simple prototype, which we can then test, get feedback. And by getting the feedback, we can make the prototype better and test it again, or we can identify, it's absolutely wrong, we have to go back and come up with another idea and another prototype. So this is a low-key way of identifying possible solutions for a human need or a problem which we try to find. When we talk about inventions or changes or innovations or whatsoever, we always have three bits which are putting together a whole picture. The first part is what we all are aware of. It needs to be commercially viable, but it also needs to be technically feasible. That's what we're talking about all the time. And what I'm talking about is it needs to fill a human need. And only when all the three things come together, then it is really a solution that is accepted and that is used by humans in their daily life or as a customer or as a client somewhere. So we are trying to find the sweet spot where we can have it all. So the human needs, commercially viable solution, and the technical feasible. And what has to do that when we only need digital? When we do that, we might experience some kind of interruptions of what we have experienced in the past, what was our regular work experience. So we might be afraid that we don't have any contact with colleagues anymore. We don't see them anymore. We might also experience, and at least that is something which is something in CGI we experience pretty much. We need more time to finish a task because we have more time to interact with each other over digital tools. Some of us might feel alone because they don't have the regular interaction anymore. They might lose knowledge about current activities because they're not participating anymore and not hearing any chats about it. They might be afraid to miss a deadline in the team because there is a lack of interaction or a lack in communication. And of course, Eric was also talking about it. There is a blurring line between life and work. And there is also a stress maybe to appear unprofessional when you have a personal life and you have kids at home and you have pets and whatsoever. And somebody comes in while you're in a conference call or in a video conference. So that is something which stresses you out. So that is something which we really have to consider what we are doing. So keep in mind, we are at the moment all exercising social distancing. We are trying to be in a typical business mode, and we are all victims of our biases. What do I mean by that? Neuroscientists have found out that each human, independent of the culture it's growing up, has approximately 108 biases incorporated into their brain. And this is a hardwired shortcut of our brains to come up with a decision about the situation. There are a couple of those which are a little bit hindering us at the moment, and when we are aware of those, it helps us to deal better with the situation of being really just pure digital. So the first bias which we have to keep in mind is the distance bias. So when we are only virtually working together, then the distance between us is much bigger perceived than we are working side by side on the desk or sitting in the kitchen or whatsoever. And the more somebody is perceived as being far away, the less important this person becomes. If we know this, we cannot stop it, but at least we can be aware of that, and that has an influence of how we perceive digital interaction and comments we receive on the digital world. The other thing is, which is quite important, is that we quite often jump to the first fact we can find and stick with it. So we lose, that's the typical shortcut of the brain. That is something, if we are aware of it, we can dig a little bit deeper and try to find out what's going on. And the last thing is we often try to simplify things. And that makes, in this complex world of digital interaction, makes it sometimes a little bit difficult. So when we really think about what do we really miss, then I would like to ask you to maybe pose some questions in the box, in the chat part. What do you really miss? I think what I'm missing is the human interaction, the smile of a colleague on the floor, the work together on something as a team, or even have coffee or lunch together with a colleague and just a little bit chatting about it. So I'm really looking forward to understand what you are missing at the moment. And that is something, you can pose that as a question in the chat. But want to say something up? My colleagues in the small chat in between. Yeah, that's true. That's something I miss as well. So if you have other suggestions, just show them up and put them forward. That's pretty nice. So let's see. Or we can discuss this further in detail when we are in the breakout room. So but we also always think about what do we lose. The other part, which you could think about, is what do we gain when we are working from home, when we are in a pure virtual environment. And one of the ideas which come up was, we do not need to commute to the office, so we don't have any congestion. Some persons suggested maybe we can even sleep longer if we don't have kids. Outside, it's less noisy, it's less traffic, it's less crowded, and you can self-determine your work environment.